It did it again. The countdown went on for literally a split second, and then it just skipped it again. I don't know why it's doing... Oh, yo, can I tell you something real quick?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
For the fucking NASB video, I had to do a lot of audio editing, and do you want to know why?
Why?
Because my fucking Windows lowered my microphone input.
Windows?
You remember how, like, that kept happening to you? How, like, every time before we recorded, it loaded? Yeah, it was my turn. The one time I fucking actually make a goddamn fucking video, Dennis, and it does that shit. For, like, the live bits, I mean. The post-editing was fine, but for the live bits, I had to, like, raise and do a lot of audio editing to get it fixed. It lowered it down to 32.
Really
it didn't even lower it. Yeah, like, what kind of arbitrary-ass number, right?
There really is just something, I think, wrong with the Realtek audio drivers. Like, I think they just get broken for everybody at least once. And it's like, if you're using your computer for anything that's not gaming or, like, audio engineering, it's like, well, you're okay because it does not matter, like, that much.
Yeah.
But if you're like us, where we have a podcast or you game with your microphone headset, or even just your microphone, it's kind of fucking annoying. It actually really is.
It was bad too because the video was like it's post, but with live action segments mixed in. But
did you have to redo
my audio
takes?
Levels? Nah, not really. No, okay, I'll tell you about it in a sec. But
okay.
Thankfully, our audio levels are fine now for the Double D experience in the morning. 97.1.
Hey,
I know I sound really good, don't I? But that's just because the sultry tones of my voice are among my most complimented features, besides my face and my penis. You see, today, I'm actually dead inside. Because at the time of this video, that this podcast is up, I posted a video about NASB 2 because your boy was actually reached out to by Sandbox Strategies and the developers of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 with early access to the game. I've been playing NASB 2 for about a solid couple of days, almost a week before the game dropped.
Got that review copy.
I did. Yeah, no, I don't know why they gave some shitty podcaster a review copy of NASB 2, but they did. And I'm honestly, once again, I've said it like 3 times in the video, but thank you so much to all the good people over at Sandbox Strategies and Fair Play Labs and all those good people for sending me a copy of the game. Because I'm not going to do a review of NASB 2 in this podcast because
he has a video coming up. He's not.
Don't listen to it here. Like, watch the video right now. No, it's already out by the time this podcast is live. Yeah, like, watch it right now.
Hey guys, go check it out.
Yeah, turn this shit off and like go watch it right now.
Right after you're done watching this. Well, no, right after you're done replaying this podcast episode 10 times.
Yes,
to get that viewership up.
Yeah, we're like Catholic priests right now. Like 10 Hail Marys. Like 10 Hail Marys before you can listen to the NASB video.
Give us what was it? Not donatives. It's like when they paid their way to heaven. It's like
just light a candle.
Called
when they go in and light a candle for like their son, their Italian son that died, who they genuinely believed, was making $100,000 a year just moving lumber. Like he was fucking dirty. Like he was dirty, man.
Oh, indulgences. That was what it was called.
Yeah,
it's when they paid their way into heaven.
Nice. Can I just Venmo? Like, does like St. Peter use? Does St. Peter
Venmo
use
the
like
Pope?
No, does St. Peter use like an iPad or something up there? Now, I remember when Steve Jobs died, they had like he was at the pearly gates and like St. Peter was using an iPad to go through the list to see like where he was on there to get into heaven. Which, considering that Steve Jobs was a Buddhist, was actually very disrespectful by Time Magazine when they did that. But either way, it was still
was
pretty
his family
funny.
Catholic?
No, Steve Jobs was, I think he was a practicing Buddhist.
I know, but like, was his, like, who headed his wedding and everything? Oh, like his wedding, the funeral.
Oh,
I thought, like, his family just, like, kind of went against his wishes. There's a
lot
of
this
times.
was Time Magazine. Time Magazine, like, when he died, like, the cover art was just Steve Jobs at the pearly gates, like, just watching St. Peter scroll through an iPad to find where he was on the list. Rather
they thought
than,
they
like,
were real clever with that shit, weren't they?
I mean, they were, but at the same time, it was still, like...
No, it's like one of those kind of, like, bits of humor where, like, the guy who drew that, or whoever commissioned it, I guess, like, whose ever idea it was just like, hey, this is gonna be funny. It's like that type of shit. It's like, it was so hilarious in your head.
They're gonna give me a raise for sure.
It's like, you did it. I got fired the next day.
What a jackass.
What a jackass.
Alright, y'all. But, if you watched the NASB 2 video already, great. If you didn't, please go check it out after listening to this podcast 10 times. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm not going to spoil the video, of course, but I am going to talk about...
A little behind the scenes.
I'm going to talk about the fact that I still can't feel my left leg. Because of the process of actually making this video. And I'm sure you're wondering, what does that mean? Much like an animator or anybody else working on any sort of project for an entire day, it's important to stay hydrated. It's very important to drink water. I remember one time back at Smash Sounds in 2018, I didn't have any water. I wasn't drinking water when I was at the tournament because I didn't think about hydration at the time because I was just a stupid Smash player who only cared about Smash and shit.
And Smash.
And at a certain point the next day, I was literally limping around the tournament because of how dehydrated I was and the lack of, hydration or blood flow going to my leg. That happens when you don't drink enough water. It literally makes you weaker at a certain point. So I guess a similar thing happened to me yesterday when I'm sitting at a computer from noon to 2 in the morning.
Editing. Which...
And not to mention the toll it's taken on my back as well. Truthfully, I make this kind of content so little now, and every time I do, I remember how much I fucking love it, and how, frankly, good I am at speaking on a camera or speaking into a mic and, making video essays and whatnot, and how streamlined I've made the process for myself. And not streamlined, but how efficient and, well-practiced I am in the process.
He has a process, yeah.
Yeah, the process is not drinking any fucking liquids and just sitting down even though you have a herniated lumbar disc constantly and you have a fucking standing desk. You can lift it up, which I did sometimes, but still. Point is, I forgot when I make these kind of videos how distracted I get. When I'm truly dedicated to something, I go in. There's no in between for me, with my Aspergery ass brain. I'm either lazy as fuck and feel like there's not a point to certain things, or I don't feel like doing something, or I'm too overwhelmed to get started, or I do get started and I just go in to the point where I realize, oh shit, I didn't eat today. Oh shit, did I drink water? No. Oh shit, you're sitting down? You have a standing desk, you stupid jackass. You can hit the button and lift it up and stand instead, which I did from time to time. So the thing is, it wasn't just that, but I also had a deadline. Because the thing is, they sent me an early copy of the game, so there was a content embargo. I couldn't upload footage of the game yet before, or clips or anything like that until the launch date, which is today, the day we're recording this actually. Video's literally going live in 2.5 hours at the time we're recording this, so it's been
a long day.
Why does I named the room that by accident, my bad. My leg.
My leg. Yeah. I thought it was just your name.
My
leg.
Humongous.
Humongous what?
Yeah. So honestly, it was a labor of love, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I literally, the good thing about my job, right, about doing the Nintendo program is that, well, before they had us working 6 days a week, I got to pick and choose what days I worked. So I don't have to work Monday to Friday necessarily. I can just take, say, Monday off like I did yesterday to spend all day working on a NASB 2 video you were given early access to make content for, to get it out by the next day, because if you worked that same day, there was no chance in hell you were ever going to be able to get it out on time. And I could do that and now just work Sunday. So I got lucky. It's quite frankly, it's the very broken thing about my job is that I don't have to call in sick when I don't have to work. I could just be like, oh, I'm not going to work this day and I'm going to work a different day, which is amazing. But at the same time, the physical toll. Dennis, I want to show you something. Take a look. You ready for this? Are you ready for this right now? Look at my bed. Do you see that shit? Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all my laundry. All my darks and my colors and my whites mixed in with some sheets, completely unfolded. Just smacking its space halfway through up my bed. I didn't even have time or energy to fold that shit, man. That's how much my eyeballs were glued to this frickin' screen. So, I hope y'all give as much love to that video as I gave it. I guess to finish here, it was really, again, such an honor from Sandbox Strategies, and you know, again, all the good people at Fair Play for giving me early access to the game. It really was an honor because I love Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I loved the first game so much, and I really do want to see the second one thrive as much, if not even better, as the first one did. Because y'all made a lot of great changes as well. Some stuff I disagreed with, but, you know, stuff that I agreed with as well. So I'm honored that you guys picked me to help really sort of promote it and really get, like, that game into the sphere and whatnot. So that'll be going up later, and, for you guys at home today, watch it later if you guys can. I'll probably plug it one more time towards the end, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. I've been rambling on about that for 10 minutes. Dennis, what the fuck do you have to say?
Oh, not much, honestly. In my neck of the woods, I've had a lot of time, like, by myself, since I am unemployed at the moment, but. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, holidays be rolling around.
Me and Dennis take turns being unemployed. I don't know if y'all have kept track of that. It seems neither me nor him can have a job at the same time.
I thought about that. I was just like, wait. It's like, he has a job and I don't. And then at one point it was flipped. Like, it wasn't like some crazy revelation to me, but it was just kind of like, huh, it's a little sus. I'm like, damn. I'm like worried if I get a job soon, does that mean... David's not gonna have one?
Because mine's seasonal, remember? That's probably gonna be exactly what's gonna fucking happen if we're keeping it a stack, dude. Probably. That's God keeping the Double D experience alive, dude. It's like one of them needs to have an open schedule. I don't know why I made God Asian. But I did.
God low-key, like, you know, I bet you whoever, like, you know, goes up there and, like, meets him, like, they expect, like, you know, that classic sort of, like, image we have of God where it's like, oh, he's this just wise old man with a white beard, like Family Guy God, whatever.
Yeah, Family Guy God.
But then, like, you know, God's just like, yo, I'm basically whatever you want me to be. And then what if a guy's just like, I imagine you to be Cody Vore. He's just like, okay. It's like, and then you just go up there and he literally just takes the form of Cody Vore, but he still speaks like God. And the guy's just like, you're everything that I imagined you to be.
Well, I mean, if we're going by the Time Magazine portrayal of God, he's probably just going to be sitting there on an iPad playing Angry Birds.
Watching
that's
YouTube.
What they pretty much said. Yeah, that's pretty much what they did when Steve Jobs died. I don't know, man. The idea of fucking God, I feel kind of blasphemous for even saying that. It's a little straight. I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I was brought up religious at first, but and then as I grew up, I just like found out my own self and whatnot, because you know how parents can raise their kids. I went to Sunday school for a bit and whatnot, and now I have just my own thoughts of separating God and religion, and you know, my own thoughts on spirituality and whatnot. I'm sort of a gumpist nowadays. I just believe that everybody has a destiny, but I'm a firm believer in that shit happens, and that what life is actually, excuse me, and that what life is actually about is about overcoming the bad things and the obstacles in your life to get to the thing that you were born to do. Because everybody thinks it's one or the other. Everybody thinks we're either floating around or that we're just born and we have a destiny and that's it. And I think it's both. I firmly believe it's both. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. You know.
Well, you have to forge your own destiny, though.
Yeah, because there are kids who get cancer. You're telling me it was their fucking destiny to get cancer, and like it just die like that, and that's
and then
fucking
you just
God
chalk it up
or whatever.
Then it is just one of those unfortunate things you have to chalk up to, like, you know, it just shit happens. Not in the sense where it's like it's no big deal, but it's just like it's terrible. Obviously, who's not saying that, but it's more just like still along those lines of, like, you know. What, like, you can't just say, like, oh yeah, that kid was just predestined to have cancer. It's just like,
yeah.
I mean, maybe to a certain extent, not so much that the kid deserved it, but, like, you know, maybe his family
maybe his body was a ticking time bomb, you know, like maybe that happened originally, but that doesn't mean he was, you know, born to have it. We have the miracles of modern medicine and whatnot.
And genetics is still a thing too, where it's not like a fucking, you know, end all be all argument to everything, but it's just like, sometimes a kid's, like, family history may just have a history of cancer or, like, you know, just getting sick. There is that too. Oh.
Yeah. I like the There's actually, to bring up Family Guy again, we're talking about the Family Guy portrayal of God. There was actually one episode of Family Guy way back in the day where Lois meets like this fundamentalist Christian couple with a sick kid, and the kid looks really sick. Like she takes like Stewie for a play date there, and then they're like, "What's wrong with him?" And they're like, "Oh, he has cancer." And they're just like talking with him about it. It's like, what? And you got to take him to a doctor or whatnot. And they're like, no, we don't believe in modern medicine. Like we're fundamentalist Christians or whatever. We believe that God will one day heal him, and all this shit, right? And like Lois can't take it, so she eventually literally kidnaps the kid to like take him to a doctor and shit and whatnot. And the way the episode ends is that she convinces them to take him to a doctor because instead of saying like, God's not going to magically heal your kid. I mean, don't you in a way sort of believe that modern medicine and like these things that we have to cure cancer is the answer to your prayers? It's like, don't you believe that? Like, don't, like, why you believe like instead you believe like some magic shit is going to happen because of some of whatever fucky belief, instead of realizing in a way this is the answer to your prayer here. This medicine that can help and heal him, because we haven't had that forever, you know what I mean? And that's how she convinces them to do it. So I like, you see what I mean? That in a way also kind of helped shape a belief I have for like certain things are the answer to your prayers. Like, the signs are everywhere. Everyone is a teacher. Everyone comes into your life for like a reason, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason and whatnot. And that's, but there's like, the crazy Christians and shit who believe that like, something is literally an angel is going to magically appear before them. Like, again, the old man, white beard God, which is just a fucking stupid belief. Like, full stop. Yeah. I think that's dumb as shit. No offense.
Obviously.
I think a lot of things about religion are fucking stupid. I think overall, a lot of problems nowadays that are happening right now is caused because of religion.
Differences in religion.
Differences in religion and shit. But you see what I mean? I'm sort of that young Zoomer belief of like, I like to say that like, if there's a God, that I love God, but I hate religion. If that makes any sense.
Because religion is an institution.
Religion was made by man. Yeah. That's an invention,
Religion, like, in the way that it's been used, and the way we read about it, it's like, there are, like, plenty of things, like, even, not trying to meme here, but, like, fundamentally about Christianity, that there is a lot of things that are very positive, I think, about it. But when you got people who are now basically using it as a system to, for basically control, well, now you gotta put your own, you gotta put your own, like, little fucked up spin on it. And, obviously put your own biases into it. And obviously, automatically, it just corrupts it, like, right then and there. So, and, like, I'm not about to, like, go into, like, a whole discussion about, like, how, like, religion is terrible as an institution. Like a documentary.
We really started a YouTube comment section at this ungodly hour in the morning.
But it's like, based on whatever your beliefs are, it's like, I don't care, truthfully. Whether you are a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, Jewish, either way, I really personally don't care because I'm Asian. Because I'm Asian. We are the most a-religious type people you will ever meet. We believe in one thing, and it's called money. We believe in money, and that's it. Like, we don't believe in no other thing, really, truthfully. We don't care for any other things because it's like, unless it brings us money, we don't care. We're like one of the most pragmatic Vulcan fucking people you'll ever meet, truthfully. If I'm talking mostly just based on stereotypes. We really don't care for most things. And unless, like, obviously it benefits us. As long as it works. We like shit that works, basically.
If there are ones that believe in something, it's usually very, very, very low-key and only comes at times of extreme duress in their life. And that is still, I feel, probably the fewer number of Asians that I have ever known and I have ever met, because like what Dennis is saying is totally true. Like, be like, oh, what is the religion of Korea? And it's like, I don't think
it's nominally Christian. Yeah. It's nominally Christian, but we don't care for it, really.
Oh, so you like stop fucking with Korean Jesus?
Nah, I still fucks with Korean Jesus. He's my homie, but it's just like, like I don't like him like that. All
right, well, stop fucking with Korean Jesus, Dennis. He's busy. He ain't got time for your problems. He's busy.
I don't go up to him with my problems. I don't go up to him with my problems. It's rude. I just know that, like, it's like people just think he exists and think He just
the best line in 21 Jump Street by far.
It really is. Like,
yeah.
And the fact that it's delivered by Mr. Ice himself.
Yeah.
Is fucking hilarious.
Regardless of how one feels about Jesus, I mean, there's no denying that he was literally the most influential man who ever lived, because literally more than half the world now fucking worshipped him.
Yeah.
Like
worships him.
Yeah, after the spreading of his teachings and whatnot. And I think it's cool, like, when you can get something out of a religion without believing in it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
Like, there's this one story from the Brobel. And again, I'm not... yeah, there's this, like, one story from the Brobel. It definitely touched my willy when I was a kid.
What?
After the priest was done with it. No, I'm kidding.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Like, I was trying to make a fucking priest pedophile joke, and I couldn't.
It bombed, bro.
Boo. Matt Rife would be ashamed of me.
Take off your belt, homo.
I want you to feel the way I felt. I love getting sexually harassed by attractive women on the top of my stage, because they're attractive women, which means they can't sexually harass anybody, right?
Oh no, because you just have to always believe women. Believe.
Well, it's not even a matter of believing. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, I was so bothered when like that woman asked him to take off his belt. Like, that woman you were getting belligerently horny right now. You need to go. Like, you need to leave.
Yeah, she was ready to, like, tear off her clothes and just throw herself on him. Like,
yeah.
It was just, like, that level of horny.
I will literally never forget when that girl had a seizure at his concert, and then when she woke up, she just asked him to kiss her. It was so fucked.
You want to know something, too? And this is the reason why, like, it's going to sound so fucked. This is why men are better. It's that our simps...
Go on!
Our simps, as much as I fucking hate them, we are never rude to that level. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, it's not true.
No.
That's not true.
Because no. Listen. Stop shaking your head. You look like a bobblehead. Relax there. Like, we never cross that line. We will say, like, oh my God, step on me, mommy, and all that, like thing. But we will never, like, just go like this and, like, yell at them, telling them, oh, take off your clothes. Like, but women simps, like, especially, at least we're taking Matt Rife's example here. They will, like you said, David, they're mad aggressive. They really are. Like, they will, like, almost as like a guy would tell a stripper, like, hey, take off your clothes. It's that energy. You know, see what I'm saying?
I do. And then you say no, and they're like, what, you fucking gay?
Yeah, exactly. Then they turn it around somehow.
Yeah, they'll say that to you and whatnot, but you oftentimes get away with that. Both genders actually are guilty of that, but believe it or not, from my experience, I do think men actually do wind up doing that more, but it's on the low key. And I think that might be starting to change, Dennis. But the reason I'm saying this is because, listen, I am articulate, with a voice that is deeper and lower than the voice and nutsack of Poseidon at the very bottom of the sea. I am 6'5". I am a lot of the things that are considered, what's the word? Sort of generally attractive to women in a lot of ways, right? When I ask out women, they say yes, they give me their number, and then they do not respond to my text, or they do not call me. And the reason being is because I know some women have actually been intimidated by me before, because if they don't know me well enough, they're scared that I'm gonna be that guy that flips out on them when they say no. Yeah, a lot of women are scared to say no to a dude, and I'm talking about, like, because listen to me, I don't live in a zoo. I am not a chimpanzee by any stretch of the imagination, right?
Except for Cody Boy.
I mean, funny enough, Cody as a person, I'm like way less attracted to who she is. It's just that woman's. No, I'm serious. I'm being honest. And like sometimes,
because it happens.
And sometimes it literally affects like how I like will nut to her. I'm serious, because like, she's so fucking genuinely retardedly hot. Like, that woman's body is a genuine grace of gift to mankind. But then if you actually met her. But then, yeah, I'm not saying I would hate her or anything. Like, I'd be civil with her and be like, oh yeah, Cody's
But the feelings you'd have with your penis would not be the same feelings you'd have with your heart, is what you're saying. Yeah, like, I'd literally
just be like, Cody's my bro. Like, we're cool. Like, fist bump, bro. Like, that's what I do with her. Like, straight up.
And if you guys were friends with benefits, it's like, okay, like, We chill.
Perfect.
We just homies out here. We just fucking each other. It's just like it's all cool. But my heart don't got the feelings people would imagine you to like have for it.
There were like, those dumbass like, fucking knives towards like Eugene in fucking that shot of like from Tangled where like all the knives are like in the bar are pointed towards Flint Rider and be like, oh, what opinion has you like this? Somebody posted what opinion about cheating would have you like this, and Cody retweeted that and she's like, oh, it's super hot with like a little sweat emoji or like that little like anime like sweat emoji, and I'm like, okay, it's good to know that yeah, you just be. I mean, she's a porn star anyway.
Then I would ask her, like, do you feel that way as a genre, or do you feel that way in the action? That's where like the whole breakdown comes in.
Because at the same time, it's like
most
you
people
don't
even
cheat
think
on
about
people.
that.
Yeah, because she doesn't cheat on people because she's a porn star. When you're dating her, there's the unwritten agreement she fucks other people. Like, you kind of gotta accept that if you're gonna be dating her, right? She's dating another porn star, another person she met through porn, and so like obviously they're cool with fucking other people because they need to do that for sustenance and money income.
And in that industry too, you're usually only dating people within your own industry, if that makes sense.
You think so?
Only because those are the ones that actually are more prone to last, in my opinion. Because just for the profession itself, and like for what it is. And like, I'm not, and people may sit here and keep trying to say that like, oh, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not, but it's nothing to be celebrated either, is what I'm saying.
That's part of the plot of Moulin Rouge. Have you ever seen that movie? It's about a writer. It's a really, really, really great musical. It's about a writer who falls in love with a woman who sells herself, but she like needs to fuck this wealthy benefactor to save the burlesque show where or to save the circus show where they work at, and he just can't take it and shit. And it's like it's a really good fucking play. It's a really good one.
Does he end up fucking him or no?
No, the girl gets tuberculosis and dies.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it's set in like 1910.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so like
where everyone got tuberculosis at least once.
Not exactly a vaccine yet for that shit. What were we talking about, Cody? Before that?
Just also like at least how relationships form in like that industry. And
I guess, yeah.
My whole thing is that like for I don't know, like the way you were even mentioning like how like the whole like chimpanzees and stuff, like it's.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like, and the thing is, women say no to me, not even because they don't think I'm attractive or anything, but it's because they don't know me. And so they're scared that I'm going to be that guy that will, like, flip out on them.
But the moment we have that energy to girls, it's just like, oh, what the fuck, are you gay?
That's a fair double standard. That is a fair double standard. I don't like to think the majority of women do that, but I mean, there are a lot of women who like do not know how to take rejection. The ones who do
can get fucked. Fuck
there
them.
are a lot of women who don't know how to take rejection, but I'm also talking about the fact that a lot of women will say no to guys that they typically find attractive because even they're scared that they're going to be that guy that doesn't like it. There'll be a guy who'll be like, oh, you're so beautiful. Like, honestly, like, I've kind of gotten a little crush on you, like the way I just see you walking around and the fun conversations we had. Can I take you out sometime? And then she'll be like, no. And then the guy will be like, oh yeah, well you have fucked up teeth.
But
you know what I mean?
What if she did have fucked up teeth? It's just look, everything
if
until
the
this
guy
point
was not attracted to her.
And
If you thought she had fucked up teeth and you weren't attracted to her for that reason, why was the guy asking her out in the first place? That proves that his affection was ingenuine. That proves he didn't actually like her, and that he was kind of trying to geschnoodle her godoitus.
Yeah, because it's also not acceptable. I mean? Yeah, but I'm also saying it's not acceptable. That's why it's also low-key kind of unfair, isn't it? Because a girl can literally straight up go up to you and say, I want to fuck the shit out of you. And apparently that's just fair. It's just fair. But the moment we do that, it's just like, oh, we're monsters. We're pigs. Okay.
Because women are beautiful and men are not.
Still double standards, though.
It's just how it fucking works.
Yeah, but it's still double standards, though, man.
If women want sex, all they have to do is ask for it. That's
why they have no game. That's why they have no game. They have no game. They have no idea other than flashing their panties. They have no idea.
It's literally because women's bodies are the game.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm saying that's why they have no game.
It's like they were born with the fucking Konami code, and their body is just like, 2 up, 2 down, left, right, B, A. Like I said at the beginning.
Yeah, but in this case, it's just B, lift skirt. That's all it is. It's you press B. That's the combo. You have no combo. We have the combo. We have to learn combos, man.
Listen, some men are just trash at fighting games, you feel me? Like, I have Asperger's, bro. Like, I can't, like...
Yeah, but the key
you remember
part
what we were
is
talking
that,
about last week
I know,
about how
bad... Wait. My whole thing is, though, is that we still have to learn. We still have to go through the ringer. We still have to go through rejection. They have no idea what it's like to be rejected. They have no idea how to compute that.
No, there are women who get rejected, Dennis. That's not true.
Yeah, but no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there are none women that don't get rejected. They just don't know how to fucking compute that, though, the way we do. It destroys them.
The occasional one, yes, I agree with that. I do.
For us, it's like we know it. That's our life. We know it.
Do you think that's part of the reason that women just never ask men out?
Yes. They're too afraid of it. They're way more afraid of it than us. Because we know it's like, this is our lot in life. That's just the way we navigate it. But for them, it's just like, no, it has to be this way. Not that it is. You understand?
I've heard guys say that, like, be like, an important life lesson to learn to a woman is that, like, oh, if there's a girl you like and, like, if she wanted to, she would. And there's a part of me that kind of thinks that.
Can you explain
that? If she wanted, apparently what they're saying, I don't know, it's always so cryptic with the way that, young people talk about relationships and shit nowadays. It's so fucking
because they also don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, they say if she wanted to get with you, she would. That if she wanted to get with you, she would. Which, but at the same time, I'm not saying you should ever change yourself for a woman, but sometimes a woman's opinion will change about you. And then she will want to get with you. I'm not saying you should, like, hold out hope and, like, not hook up with other girls or not fucking, or just, like, hold out hope for, like, one girl or, God forbid, change yourself to be with one. But I'm also just saying, like, nothing's ever completely written in stone like that unless it becomes written in stone.
Oh, fuck, I want to talk about video games today. Why are we talking about this?
It just happened. It's a naturally flat. That was pretty much all I had to say about that, so I'm done, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Open that world up for me, Dennis.
Yeah.
Open up them worlds, boy.
This is a terrible segue, honestly.
Open up them worlds, boy.
I'm gonna just be swinging my way into this new topic because it's not really like, not really anything new that's been discussed, in my opinion. I'm just gonna be talking about open world games just a little bit again because I've had a lot of time to play a lot of my backlog that I have in my Steam library. And one of the games that I've been playing was the not Spider-Man 2 that just recently came out this month, like a week or two ago, which I heard has been doing some numbers. It's been doing pretty well, and as it deserves. Spoiled fucking game for myself because YouTube be an asshole like that, and I'm a crack addict for fucking spoilers. So I was like, fuck it, let me just watch all this. And I saw Venom. I saw, like, all, like, the plot points of the game. I saw, like, just how much they've improved compared to the last two, which was Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And I was like, well, fuck. I guess I have to wait another 5 years for this shit to come out on PC, because that's just the way PlayStation's going at with their ports nowadays. But the thing is, they are taking a while for, like, because I think they're releasing a lot of them in batches, if that makes sense. Like, not so much like, like one release like every 3 months or whatever, because I think they took their time for God of War, Spider-Man, and a couple others. These were like really great games that they brought over to the PC.
Final Fantasy too.
And Final Fantasy as well. And, like, the ports, thankfully, at launch were solid, which I appreciate. And I'd rather have a port that on release is solid compared to, let's say, something like Cyberpunk. Just saying. So, like, I could wait
10 FPS.
Not even 2. It's like, for that, like, I could wait, but it's just that, like, going back, I guess, like, to open world a little bit. We always been memeing on this show about how we feel about open world games and how it's a mixed bag. So it always has been, really. The more recent ones that have come out, at least like Starfield, which I have some choice words for that game, as you probably heard like a couple episodes ago. But I personally think anyone who defends a slow burn for a game that takes 13 hours to get to the good shit, you are fucking delusional, and I will kill you.
I like to think that every hour of the 13th hour that it takes for the game to be fun is just one more inch of Todd Howard's cock
being slowly inserted into the back of the throat.
Into my orifices, yes, because, them walking simulators, they just taste so good and salty and a little tang at the end.
But let me extend an olive branch.
Space walking simulator?
If y'all really did like Starfield, for your own reasons, not taking nothing away from you.
I am.
And if you just love Bethesda games like that, I don't blame you.
I do.
But I'm gonna be real. Just does not do it for me. I'm sorry. Just does not do it for me. And the very fact that you have to fast travel through space, like you don't even get to travel through space in a space exploration game about space, is some real fuck shit, in my opinion. And
somebody broke Starfield deliberately so they could float upwards towards another planet.
Yeah.
And they did.
They really
and they just fucking went through the planet because it's just part of the background. Why did you advertise it like this? You know what I mean? It's just a fucking space-themed game at that point. But then
it's just space Bethesda.
Revolutionary. It's so revolutionary. Dude, the fucking fast travel in Sonic Frontiers was more revolutionary than that shit, because at least it was unique in the fact that the character is the fast travel, and that he just runs to spaces that he can see in the distance, which is the brilliant thing that game did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's like things in the near draw distance that don't load, so the things in the far distance do. Because even Sega and fucking Sonic Team and the fucking cocaine-driven wisdom of that fucking team, like cranking out some of the shittiest games ever made. They're like, yeah, the player is going to want to run to the thing that far in the distance. That's what they're going to want to do, and that's important here. Not to mention the game has the most ridiculous, amazing combat system that it does. That team makes no sense. And even they got that shit right, Dennis.
But
so what is fucking Todd Howard's and Bethesda's and fucking Star Wars, Star Trek's excuse?
But here's the thing. Compared to those, the scale is, people will argue, bigger because it's space. And you could argue that, I'm sure, but No Man's Sky, the game everyone forgot about, does that a million times better. Way more interactive, and at the same time, it's not as story driven. I will admit, not as story driven as a Starfield, because Bethesda game's all about like the narrative. But it just feels like a very nicely looking wet noodle of a game, in my opinion. Like, and I'm like talking about it in the same context as like No Man's Sky was, because I think at the very least, like, Starfield did deliver because it wasn't cyberpunk, so it passed that test. Hooray.
Well, that's the fucking Joe Biden argument. Are you kidding?
No. But my whole point is that,
he's a good president because he's not Trump.
It delivered on what it said it was going to deliver on. And I think people honestly thought that it was a lot bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
Because there is content in the game. I'm not saying that it's devoid of that. And it, like, isn't, EA either. They're not going to, like, tell you, hey, do you want to get, like, this super special, super secret, awesome gun that'll help you beat the game, like, in one shot? Buy it for $20, thank you. Like, like, Bethesda doesn't work that way. They've tried to do their own scummy shit in the past with mods, with Skyrim. But, like, that's another topic for another time.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, there are, like, games out there where they just don't fucking understand what traveling should be like in a game. And I'm saying now that Spider-Man 2018, or I think it was maybe 2019,
when the PS5 dropped, Or no, it was before the PS5 drop.
Yeah, it was PS4. It was PS4.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 was...
I was thinking of the Miles Morales game, my bad.
Yeah. It was Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. So, at the very least, Spider-Man 2018 to 2019 for PlayStation got that fucking right. And I think it's solely because of one thing. You're fucking Spider-Man. You're swinging through New York.
Arguably the most culturally significant character in our modern era, honestly. And Spider-Man is bigger than he's ever been.
Traveling through New York, swinging through New York was fucking... Like, I wish I had more words. It was just fucking awesome. Like, I had never been so lost, just lost in the sauce, just swinging through fucking buildings. It's just so, like, traveling through there, like, you know, traveling in general, at least in the game, was just such a joy. Like, I've fucking hated, like, it, like, especially for big open, like, not open world, I guess, but, like, for big, like, for games that have, like, humongous worlds. Like, I played WoW, and, like, you have a mount, okay, like, okay, you could press 1, horse comes up, you ride through the forest, right? At a slightly higher speed. And you see, like, everything, you know, like, the whole case of exploration is still there. I'm not saying that, like, okay, like, you know, I could fully compare the two, but again, Spider-Man, again, has an unfair advantage in this because it's like, for one, you're fucking Spider-Man. You're fucking Spider-Man. Like, that's the whole point of the argument. It's like, you're literally the guy who swings through New York. And every time we've seen it on the screen, it looks fucking awesome. And now you do it in a game, and it truly is, like, as awesome as you, like, saw it as when you watched it on the screen. Yeah, go ahead.
Game feel. Making things feel good is so important when you're designing mechanics and new and unique mechanics like something like the web. So as far as game feels goes, beyond the fact that it's more efficient fast travel, does the reason it feel good is because it's efficient fast travel? Or is there, like, a different kind of, like, game feel sense to it? Like, how do you as the player feel when you're swinging through the webs? Because making something feel good and good to the player like that is important. Like, in my NASB video, I mean, like, one spoiler for it is that I talk about NASB 1. The game looked like shit, and a lot of people didn't like it for it. Like, the game had a distinct lack of polish, but the movement in that game was so fluid and not concise. That's not a good word for it. It was so fluid and free flowing, and the buffer just felt so good. It just felt good to play. So I didn't care the fact that, you know, it looked like a Volkswagen or like some shitty, like, you know, 1998 fucking Honda Civic
ass looking.
I was gonna say Honda Civic. That's the exact car I was gonna say. When it has this fucking nitro turbocharged engine on the inside.
We always shit on Civics, but Civics be tanks, man. Like,
Hondas
don't
are
underestimate. Yeah, like, they just
they'll outlast for 8 years.
They'll outlast virtually anything else we have on the market. Like, there's still people running Civics at 400,000 miles. Like,
I still have my Honda Accord. It is the first car I ever owned. I still have it. And my mechanic even still straight up says, you take good care of it, you're probably still going to get 2 more years out of this car.
Another 200,000 miles.
I am going to be sad when I have to give that car up. I've been through a lot with it. It's going to be a real sad day.
I have a friend who he drives an Accord. And he literally said, like, he has a car in mind that he wants to get, but he said, like, it makes no sense to sell it. So, like, I'm literally just going to drive it until the wheels, like, come off. Like, which is the best thing to do because, for one, it's a car you can do that with. Yeah. But I'm getting sidetracked here, but it's just like, and, like, going back to Spider-Man at least real quick, and, like, even how
he don't need a car. He don't need no Honda
Civic. Yeah, exactly. And,
he
like,
got the.
And David even mentioned, like, you know, the whole idea of fast travel, right? They have an option for fast travel in the game. I have never used it once.
That's
because
good.
There's no fucking reason to.
That's really hype. They put that in there for the lazy ass players, and then they're like, no, this feels so good, and just swinging around is so fun that you don't even need to do it.
Bro, it is so therapeutic.
It's the same in Frontiers. Actually, in Frontiers, you can actually fast travel to, like, the Coco creatures that, like, upgrade your stats.
But are you going to?
Things.
Do you need to?
There's no reason. Just fucking
run
there.
You are the fast travel, as David has said multiple times. There's no reason for you to use it.
Frontiers was praised so much, but that game was still so underrated. Like, I really feel like people didn't talk about it enough because it's a Sonic game. But
that's the main reason why. If it was anything else,
so
like
good. I think it's the best 3D Sonic. I really do believe that. I
think so too. I think so too.
Full stop. Yeah.
I think just for what
underrated
it was trying to do,
game.
what it was trying to do, scale wise, and then even plus, like, you know, just the comeback, like the significance of the game, like because it being. We had so much shit games before. Now we have this, like, you know, straight up banger that, like, doesn't redeem all the shit that they did, that they released, but at the very least, like, you know, it, like, basically proved that, like, yo, we could do this. Like, we could make a good open world Sonic game.
The prior Sonic game was, like, the worst. The one before that was Forces. And my God, that game was one of the biggest letdowns ever. There's people who think that game is legit worse than Sonic 06. I think they might be a little crazy, but there are things that 06 even does better than that game. And you're telling me that fucking Frontiers was made by the same people? What? What the fuck were you snorting when you made Forces then?
Frontiers. I think Frontiers, though, and like the direction that they had was the direction itself. I think was even made because
well, Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus, the Sonic combined.
They also knew that like we've had enough shit releases. There's always like that cycle that happens with a lot of companies where it's like when you release enough shit. Then they realize, and after they get enough criticism, it's like, okay, we have to make a good game now. Like, they never go the Nintendo route.
Everybody in the boardroom's just like,
yeah, it's like, we have to try.
I don't wanna.
That was CD Projekt Red. After, like, yeah, like Phantom Liberty, I heard was fucking great as an expansion. As not, the people said, it's not a DLC, it's a straight up expansion. And it is. And it improves plenty of shit on the game that honestly it's like design choices wise it's like why did you decide to go this route. One thing being was that every piece of clothing in that game had a stat. So if you like were dripped out, if your character was dripped out, right, in Cyberpunk, if your character was dripped out, right, and it was just like, yo, my character looks so badass, V's like such a fucking, like, you know, he's just such a fucking cold, murderous motherfucker. And then you find this one piece of equipment which was straight up, it could be underwear. And it has higher stats than what you have currently equipped. That's some fuck shit. But so, like, that's why, like, Phantom Liberty, like, you know, whoever played it, I have yet to play it. I have it downloaded, but, you know, I'm still going through Spider-Man and even Elden Ring. Like, if you, like, even fucking Elden Ring, even before, like, you know, I think maybe it might have come out around the same time, but like in the case of like Elden,
I don't remember.
Not close to it, I think, but like, you know, in the case of Elden Ring too, it's like, you know, like how I said in WoW, like, oh, you got a horse, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go through the forest, like taking my horse and shit like that. It's like, nay, you know, but then it's like, you know, but Elden Ring also, I think it's just because like Elden Ring has so much just like natural feeling content in it. It's not like a Ubisoft fucking checklist. Like anyone who's ever played the Assassin's Creed games, you've seen what that map looks like. It fucking sucks. Like just all this useless garbage that like they tell you don't have to do, but it's like for all the 100% completionists out there, that's a fucking nightmare.
For what you paid for. For what you paid for, you basically have to do it. You don't have to do it, but for what you paid for, you basically have to do it.
Yeah, if you're trying to 100% a game, it's like, well, you got what you paid for, and like people will even argue, like, I think maybe it's not really a term now, but in my head, it's some artificial ass content. Like the stuff that they make you do in like a Ubisoft type of like open world game. It's like it's all these billions of icons on your map, and it's just like, yeah, go do them all. I don't want to as soon as I see that. Like, fuck that.
That's how some people felt about Mario Odyssey. They felt like it was so much and that so many of the moons were kind of useless, so there wasn't a reason to go for 100%.
It ain't a Ubisoft game. It was not as bad as that.
the thing is, I disagreed because, like, even in that game, it still gave me that feeling. Like, that game made me feel like a child. And that is a rare thing that a game like that can ever get
feel.
me to. So
again, as you mentioned, game feel.
Yeah, the movement in that game was amazing, too, by the way. Some of the best in any Mario game, or, like, any 3D Mario game, I should say. And, so I can't in good faith say it's bad, because I know, like, game reviewers or people who love that game who, like, after a couple of years, they're like, yeah, it's actually bad. I'll admit the replayability is terrible, because the game is so fucking massive that it's like, to replay Mario Odyssey, I have not replayed Mario Odyssey. A game came out like 5 years ago, and I have not replayed it. Granted, I don't replay games really too often, but still. Like, the 100% speedrun for Mario Odyssey, Dennis, it's legit, like, a day. Like, it's legit, like, a day, like, 24-hour speedrun or some shit. Might have been reduced down to 12, I don't know how, but, like, the game is so massive, and there's so many moons and whatnot. But to me, it just felt like more and more content. So what did that game do differently to have it just feel like more and more content instead of having the shit feel useless? Is it just because it's Mario and I'm blindsided? I don't want to say that, because I didn't like every 3D Mario game. Like, 3D World, a lot of people loved that game. That is, like, my least favorite 3D Mario game, by far. By fucking far. And probably because it's really
not like
linear.
It's a bad game either. I've played it. It's not bad. It's just, like, as far as, like, let's say if we're going to be putting it on a tier list, which I low-key hate, but it's like if you're going to put it on a tier list, it's not like bottom, but it's like not as high as, say, Odyssey. Just because...
It's way too linear.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't like that.
I'll even... Because it follows, like, the whole, like, the classic Mario formula. Like, from Mario World, like, for Super Nintendo. It's, like, following that, you know, sort of kind of formula, which...
Really designed to be played with friends as well, that game, on top of that. So, like, the thing, you know, with Odyssey, like, what made the game feel different? What made, like, all, like... Because there are some moons where you have to do some stupid shit to get it, but it doesn't even feel stupid. It just felt like more and more and more discovery, and I feel like Western game developers try to make these open-world games where it's just more and more and more discovery, and...
But it's artificial.
It's artificial. It's like a needle in a haystack with them, really. And so a lot of them just feels like, this is useless. Why'd you make me go all the way here to do this? Blah, blah, blah. Why'd you make me do this? Why is there no fast travel in this part? What's the point of fast travel here? It's like, I feel like a lot of them are trying to nail that formula. Because even Odyssey has fast travel, because that game fucking needed it. Yeah. And, so it's like, how does Nintendo just constantly nail shit like that? Even other, like, you know, Eastern game developers, even though Sega, I think, is also technically an American company, with fucking Sonic Frontiers, the first time they ever tried open world Sonic. Well, I mean, I guess sort of with the exception of Sonic Adventure, but that's, you know, it's got
that
like
was an open world. It was a box.
Yeah, it has an overworld, but yeah, it's a box. That's a good way to describe it, actually. That's better than I could have described it. The first time they actually try open world Sonic, and they fucking nailed it. Like, they blew that. That shit was voted like one of the... It wasn't nominated for Game of the Year, but at the Game Awards, it was voted in the fan game category for Game of the Year. It was like one of the nominations it was one of the nominations by fans to be Game of the Year. Okay. It didn't get it. It wasn't in the running, but it was nominated by it in the fan category, right? So I'm like, that's a Sonic game. That's a Sonic game, dude.
And
what? 5 years ago, they released Forces. What happened?
Finally got the shit together. But
they got their shit together, yeah.
But, and there's like one more thing that I kind of want to say, and like we're coming up on time here. So I just want to say one more thing. Side quests, they're hit or miss 100% of the time. They're hit or miss 100% of the time. And this is also spoilers for Spider-Man 2, so if you got to this part, skip ahead to the ending of our podcast. I was going through YouTube Shorts, as any, you know, fucking digester of media would do. Went through some YouTube Shorts, and there was one that I saw of Spider-Man 2 where it was a side quest of where a granddaughter is asking you to find their grandpa, and like you find him at this, like, I believe it's Central Park, because like I know the game, I don't think the game's open world is 1-to-1 to New York, but you find him sitting down at a bench in Central Park. And he's like, I saw this on Twitter. Yeah, and like he's like this sweet old, like, you know, black man, like, you know, he tells like Spider-Man, like, hey, like, you know, come sit down with me, Spider-Man. And like, you know, he just like recounts, like, you know, of how he met his wife. They went to, you know, the zoo. He proposed to her and everything, and like now she's gone. So he just feels like this bit of loneliness. And like he's like talking about how, like, you know, when I'm here at this bench, like it feels as if like she's still right there. It was the most heartfelt fucking thing I've ever heard.
He also mentioned that he was fading.
And he was fading. Yeah, he knows he's getting old.
Everybody tells him that, like, you know, you get less scared of dying as you age.
Yeah, but nothing prepares you for it.
He didn't get but nothing prepares you for it,
yeah,
and whatnot. And it was harrowing.
It was some real shit, but it was also like just so beautiful though. Like and I know people may even say like it's like, you know, calm down, calm down, Dennis. It's just a video game, but like it's just
calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
Yeah, it's just a drawing. But it really is like one of those examples where, like, you know, I think it's definitely gotten more respect over the years, like video game being like a medium to telling stories, because at one point like we had Pong, and like, you know, what story did Pong tell you other than like all this balls going back and forth across the screen? But like as the years went on, obviously, like, you know, we just like, I think it just got taken more seriously as the years went on. And like we've had crazy, like, you know, games like even Ocarina of Time, which I'm not gonna sit here and like, you know, bash on Aaron, but I think, you know, I'm also not even gonna
fucking idiot.
Part of me also kind of wants to bash on the Zelda community as well, because like you guys are like a little too crazy with that. I think maybe a little bit, but I think his point was proven though, that like at least for Zelda's case and being like a non-linear story with like, because like, you know, some developers care for story more than others. Miyamoto does not care for stories. He could really do without it if he wanted to. But I think, you know, it's just so weird though, because it's like for a lot of those games, we loved the story. And in the case of like, you know, Ocarina of Time, it was a pretty simple story. Save the princess. That's it. Like, there's really not much else that you really have to go for. That's it. You have to save the princess. That's the whole point of the story. And now, you know, especially when we've had like, you know, voice acting, when that came about in video games, like, you know, like us telling stories became a lot more natural feeling. It wasn't just us reading text like on a fucking screen, you know? Mm-hmm. And now, like, again, we fast forward all the way to like, you know, this little bit in Spider-Man, which like, you know, Spider-Man has always been like a hero, like, you know, for his like local community. Not so much like a Superman where he saves the Earth from a meteor and shit like that, but like,
part of the reason he's so relatable now, like to so many like people, you know?
He's transformed over the years, but he's still, the essence of his character still stays the same, no matter which medium he's been in, either in movies or in like the video games. And like, you know, it's always like, there's always like that whole thing of like, what does it mean to be like a hero, right? At least in the context of like a lot of movies where it's like, what does it mean to be Spider-Man, or what does it mean to be Batman? And like, you know, just like the whole it being like a blessing and a curse type thing, where it's just like, yeah, I can do all these amazing things, but it's just like, you know, there's always still cons to it, because like my loved ones can be hurt. And like if they ever find out like whoever I was, you know, the whole superhero type shit.
Beyond being as culturally significant as he is, especially with Miles Morales and how important of a character he is for like the African American community.
Spider-Verses were such fucking good movies. Yeah.
Miles is such an important character for that reason. Spider-Man, even before that, was just the quintessential superhero. So many fucking characters were sort of based and modeled off of him. That's part of the reason that Danny Phantom is as beloved of a character as he is as well. Like, you know, he's relatable because at the same time, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like, we were just a kid once, you know, like, we kind of feel that way. Danny Phantom didn't invent that. That was motherfucking Spider-Man that invented that shit. Are you kidding? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding? So, like, he's such an influential character in that regard, and he's a culturally significant one as well, especially for the modern times. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to put into words, and it's something that I honestly think could fill up an entire podcast or fill up an entire essay on how much Spider-Man already was a very important character, and how, for modern times, in our generation and the generation below us and the Zoomers, he's more culturally significant of a character than I think he's ever been. Like, in his life, you know what I mean? Look at fucking Side Talk. They got Spider-Cuz. And the dude wearing the fucking Crip do-rag. Going around. That shit is hilarious. I will never forget when he ran into that guy dressed as Batman and they got in each other's faces like, you know where I'm from? You know where I'm from? You know where I'm from? I'm from Gotham. And then he said a racist word that I cannot say as a white man, but you know, it added to the joke, of course. But yeah, those guys were fucking crazy. That channel got a little too ratchet for me. I got like
it was always a little ratchet though. It was always a little ratchet.
It got like more ratchet as it went on. They haven't posted in a while. Maybe they got arrested. I don't know. No, I don't know. Yeah,
okay, I guess what I want to conclude.
New York's a different planet. Yeah, conclusion.
And also, like, what to conclude on, I think, is like at least as far. God, it's went from like a whole thing about like Spider-Man's like traveling like across his open world to like just Spider-Man in general. I honestly just think though, like, you know, it's they have gotten Spider-Man wrong sometimes over the years, like Amazing Spider-Man, but that was not really Andrew Garfield's fault, and I think a lot of people like unnecessarily shit on him for it. For that, but it's not even his fault. It's not. Y'all pulling the same shit you did with like Anakin Skywalker when Jake Lloyd was playing him and you bullied him for it, or Jar Jar Binks. It's like, relax there, you know, people.
Part of just kind of reminds me of what Paul Liberti always taught us in our voiceover classes, is that there's no such thing as bad actors, there's only bad directors.
Bad direction, yeah. And in the case of Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, there was plenty of bad direction. Plenty of it. And I didn't even watch that second movie. I didn't even watch it. Like, I just heard unequivocally from people, like, it was just so bad. And I felt bad. And that's why I'm also glad, like, No Way Home fucking at least like addressed like, you know, Andrew Garfield, like, and you know, his Peter Parker and his Spider-Man. Like, people even argue like, oh, like sometimes the actor can play a great Peter Parker, but then he plays a bad Spider-Man or vice versa. And like that can happen, yeah. And like I'd even say Tobey Maguire played a great Peter Parker, or like played a great Spider-Man, but wasn't a really good Peter Parker, and he just was a blubbering, crying mess for like 3 of his movies.
He looked too old to play Peter.
That too, yeah. That too.
Even back then, like
I think Andrew Garfield
now in like No Way Home, like they make like the old man jokes, and he's like, "Oh, my back," like they all that stuff. Like that was perfect. But even back then, in like 2002, when they dropped that movie, I'm like, you do not look like a fucking teenager.
But he was a great Spider-Man, though.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tobey was a great Spider-Man. He just wasn't a good Peter Parker, which, you know, again, that argument can be made back and forth, but because people then argue, it's like, well, they're the same. No, they're not. Peter Parker and Spider-Man are not the same character or people. Yeah, and like they make Holland that very
was the best
clear.
Of both worlds, you know.
I think so too, but I also like it. They had a lot more to work with there, because at least as far as like the MCU, I think the direction that they went for it was definitely unique in that he was a pupil of Iron Man, which, like, you know, in the case of Spider-Man, like, he never really had too many mentors, if that makes sense. He always just kind of hovered around the Avengers and said, hey, can I join the Avengers? But in this universe, like, Iron Man actually took him in and, like, you know, under his wing and such.
Yeah.
And I think at the very least, it's like the movies are a bit different too, so we can't really compare them one to one. Like the Tobey Maguire trilogy to, like, you know, let's say all of Tom Holland stuff. But like what I'm getting at is that, especially in the case of, like, you know, video games, and if we're talking about like Spider-Man's like traveling again, and just like as a concluding thought, like, you can do it. You can make traveling fun. You don't have to make it seem as if, like, when you were a kid in your mom's car and you guys were on a 3-hour car ride and you just couldn't do anything. You're just sitting there, like, just fucking like, oh, when are we gonna be there? Are we there yet? Like, you know, like, it's just like, you could do that. You could make that in a game. But it's just like, you know, I think it is a mix of, like, you can figure it out, but also at the same time, some, like, IPs just have an advantage, because in the case of Spider-Man, you're fucking Spider-Man. You're not gonna take the subway to go fight the bad guy.
Even though you're gonna
swing.
Right?
Even though you can, yeah.
That's
Even
so
though
funny.
you can. Like, the devs, Insomniac was just so good with it. And, like, you know, but you're gonna be swinging through the city, like you saw in the movies and in the shows back then. That's what you're gonna be doing. Because that's what Spider-Man is.
Unless you're trying to make a really funny gameplay video where you're just like you're pretending you're like a Spider-Man cosplayer just walking around New York.
Those like motherfuckers that are at Times Square. It's like, hey, one picture.
Yeah, that'd be fun, dude. Oh my god, that'd be a really good idea for a video. I kind of wish I had a PS5 now. I would do that.
Spider-Man,
oh man,
Spider-Man. You could also still get the first game for PC.
That's true.
Still up there.
Can
it's
I
a
go
great fucking game.
Can I go on the subway? Because if I can't, I'm not buying it.
You could, yeah. I think you could go on the subway. Yeah.
Well,
and yeah, concluding thoughts. You can do it. Spider-Man's fucking OG. He's just can't be beat. Spider-Man could probably beat up Batman if he wants. Could probably kill Superman too. Just stick that fucking rock into his head.
I mean,
But,
power-wise, I do think he's more powerful than Batman in that way.
I know, but like, you know, Batman's like, oh, everyone's like, oh, Batman's intellect can't be beat.
That's
I'm
actually,
okay.
I really can't answer that. I know you think
I know,
Spider-Man would cleanly
I'm not
win.
gonna answer that. That's why I went silent there. I was
That's
like, you know what, I'm not gonna have that
argument.
argument. That's like a death battle. That's a death battle
nerd,
type.
That is a nerd death battle podcast.
Yeah,
dude. Like,
argument type thing.
that is definitely like I
let
could
them
talk
have
about that for an hour, honestly. But man, we really have come a long way since Pong. Somebody should write a full-fledged story to Pong. Just to see if they can. Like, write a whole anime, like, just for Pong. Not Ping Pong, the animation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally Pong, the video game. Let's take something with the least amount of story and try to, like, give it a story just to see what the fuck we can do with it.
Keep reminding me of, like, that one scene with Toby, where, like, he narrates the beginning. He's like, who am I? You sure you want to know? My story ain't for the faint of heart.
Well, if this podcast is not for the faint of heart, you can. That was a horrible analogy. I don't know where I was going with
just
that.
Plugs.
Plugs. Boom. If you liked what you listened to, you can check us out wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, we got plenty more episodes. This was episode 147. We're approaching the big 150. The big 150.
Like 150 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Approaching 150.
Well, it's 151.
That is true.
Yeah.
But Mew apparently was not in the official decks when it first released. That was something that came about afterwards.
Yeah.
But yes, go on.
If you guys liked what you listened to, leave us a quick 5-star review on Spotify on your mobile phone. Takes like a couple of clicks. Really helps with our SEO. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get them. Also right here at youtube.com/Nintoonist, which again is where I know most of you listen to it. Feel free to leave a like on the video if you do. That helps out a lot. Comment below. Anything. We don't care. We'll read it. And also subscribe if you can. Follow us on X at Double D Pod, on Instagram at the Double D Experience 21. And if you really want to do us a favor, please, if you haven't already, check out my new NASB 2 early access video.
Yeah.
I wasn't lying about that. They really gave me early access to the game for some godforsaken reason and asked me to make a video on it.
Even
so
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
even I'm shocked he got it.
Dennis is shocked. Like, David's such a fucking loser. Like, why'd they give him
with a shitty podcast?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm really happy with how the video turned out for the most part, and I hope that video will make you guys smile as much as it made me smile making it, even though it destroyed my body for a little while. But that'll do it. Please listen to that video when you can. It's already live at the time this video goes up. It's been live for a couple of days. And also play Spider-Man. Play Spider-Man 2. Do you think it's going to get nominated for Game of the Year?
Might be hard because God of War 2 also came out.
Yeah, this was a huge year for games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. The Game Awards this year is going to be actually pretty interesting.
Next year is Elden Ring's expansion, supposedly. So,
and that's going to... The expansion alone is going to be Game of the Year?
Yeah.
That's fucked.
No, it's not fucked.
That's a
precedent.
Very
true.
That's
very
a precedent.
true.
That's a precedent. I don't
that
like
is,
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
You telling me they're going to...
It's Elden Ring.
You're telling me they're going to Al Gore that Bill Clinton?
It's from Soft, my guy.
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah. Like, this guy really made that reference right now.
Name 5 books. Kid literally debated like a fucking 14-year-old too.
Be like debated like Ben Shapiro's like, now let's say hypothetically, you're going to name 5 books.
Let's say hypothetically, you have a hot sister. Okay, sorry. We're done. We love y'all. We'll see you next week. We love you. And we'll see you in your dreams.
And with great power comes great penis. You know, Spider-Man got all the bitches. You got Black Cat.
Remember that Drake Bell movie? It's like, with great power comes hot bitches.
Yeah.
That's what Leslie Nielsen said.
Yeah. That's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man gets all the bitches.
Yeah.
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 MJ, Gwen, Black Cat.
Yeah.
Fire bitches. Okay.
Goodbye, guys.
Great in the sack.
more like great in the web.